Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 646 based on novel. So let's start. Wang Lin. It's actually Wang Lin. A roar came out of the Dao Yi sect, and the anger in that roar echoed across the world. Aside from anger, there was a sense of fear and dread. Facing Wang Lin, Dao Yi could not forget everything that had happened inside the palace in the ancestral city. Back then, Wang Lin was already extremely powerful, and now he was a Grand Empyrean. He didn't dare to imagine how strong Wang Lin was now. The giant Grand Empyrean sun that was second only to Jidu Dao's also revealed Wang Lin's strength. He hasn't even gone to the immemorial god realm, and yet he actually become a Grand Empyrean based on his own strength. In the northern continent, Wu Feng was in a trance as he stared at the sky for a long time. In the Purple Yang sect, the two little girls were filled with joy. They pulled each other's hands while looking at the sky. He became a Grand Empyrean. On Mount Emperor in the ancestral city, Grand Empyrean Jidu looked in the direction of the ancient clan. His heart trembled, his face became slightly pale, and he was uncertain. When he was in the palace, he had already formed the outline of a sun, then he obtained the celestial ancestor's head. This sun has three colors: black, white, and gold. The gold should be from the fusion of the celestial ancestor's head. Normally, it shouldn't be a great shock that he became a Grand Empyrean, but it's only been a mere 100 years and he has already refined the celestial ancestor's head. And the time he became a Grand Empyrean, Jidu's heart trembled. He was the only one who knew the truth about the 72 souls causing an uproar. He thought about the gaze from before and couldn't help but connect it with Wang Lin becoming a Grand Empyrean. Jidu revealed dread and muttered to himself, "It should be impossible." Heizi was sitting at the corner of Mount Emperor as she looked up at the sky with a complicated gaze and revealed a hint of enlightenment. Also in the ancestral city, under the palace, Lian Daofei, who had turned into a mountain, remained motionless. In the ancient clan, an uproar was set off in the ancient Shi's origin mountain. Seong Chien had a bitter expression. Although he had already seen it when he sent the ancient devil over and was prepared, his heart still trembled. In the ancient Dao imperial city, Xian Luo felt Wang Lin's aura. A smile appeared on his face. He was very happy and laughed out loud. In the Luohua country, in the sky above the palace, Wang Lin waved his hand and his three-colored Grand Empyrean sun disappeared. However, the shadow of his Grand Empyrean sun would forever remain in the sky as a symbol of him becoming a Grand Empyrean. The world returned to normal as the power of the law slowly dissipated. Several rays of light flew out from the palace, and the one in front was Prince Jidu. He suppressed the excitement in his heart, immediately knelt down when he was 1,000 feet from Wang Lin, and spoke loudly. "Congratulations, Godfather, on becoming a Grand Empyrean." "Greetings, Lord Wang." Behind Jidu, the young woman and her husband, the young man in purple, spoke respectfully. They could not hide the shock in their eyes and dropped down to one knee before Wang Lin. After all, if Jidu did this, the two of them had to follow. "We greet Lord Wang." After the three of them spoke, all the guards in the palace got down on one knee and bowed at Wang Lin. Their voices fused together into a sound wave that echoed across the palace. Wang Lin floated in the air and looked at the people. He looked at Prince Jidu and the young couple with a smile. He was calm as he looked at the frozen ancient devil and walked over. Standing before the ancient devil, Wang Lin raised his right hand and pointed to between the eyebrows of the ancient devil. The ancient devil trembled and revealed a painful expression. A ray of black light flew out and disappeared into the wind. The ancient devil no longer felt pain and its mind was restored. It looked at Wang Lin with fear and whimpered. It was able to move again, so it also dropped down to one knee and lowered its head at Wang Lin. "Jidu, I'm going to take you to see Seong Chien." Wang Lin stepped on the head of the ancient devil and looked back at Jidu. Jidu's body trembled and he suddenly looked up. He could not suppress his excitement as he looked at Wang Lin and revealed his gratitude. "Thanks, Godfather, for helping." Jidu took a deep breath and arrived at the head of the ancient devil. He respectfully stood behind Wang Lin and looked at Wang Lin's back. This back was not large, but he felt like it was a mountain. As long as he had this back supporting him, he could become the ancient Shi Emperor. The large ancient devil didn't need Wang Lin to give any command. It let out a howl as it turned with Wang Lin and Jidu on its back and tore open the rift it came from. It went inside the rift and disappeared. When it disappeared, the rift in the sky slowly closed until it became a white line, which also disappeared. Outside the ancient Shi, on Origin Mountain, when Wang Lin had erased Seong Chien's divine sense on the ancient devil, Seong Chien trembled. His face had turned slightly pale, but he quickly recovered. His expression was gloomy as he held the giant war axe in his hand. He looked up at the sky and his breathing gradually became even. He knew his actions would make Wang Lin come here. Even if I hadn't tried to test Wang Lin earlier, he would have still come here in order to make Jidu the next emperor. Seong Chien sighed. He didn't have any confidence in winning, but as a Grand Empyrean, he could not just yield without a battle. On Origin Mountain, a thunderous rumble echoed and haze surrounded the mountain. There seemed to be a large army inside the haze that gave off powerful killing intent. With the Origin formation and the war axe that contains law, which was gifted to me by Grand Empyrean Jidu Dao, even if he has the power to manipulate law, I should still be able to put up a fight. Seong Chien took a deep breath and calmly looked at the sky as he waited for Wang Lin's arrival. Behind him, Kai Man had a bitter expression and was silently pondering. Time slowly passed, and in the blink of an eye, one incense stick of time passed. Just at this moment, a rumble came from the sky and a large rift was torn open in the sky. Large amounts of black gas spewed out and a large ancient devil came out. There were two people standing on its head. It was Wang Lin and Jidu. Seong Chien suddenly looked at Wang Lin. At the same time, Kai Man's gaze met with Jidu's gaze. Seong Chien waved his sleeve and coldly said, "Wang Lin." Wang Lin smiled as he clasped his hand and said, "Greetings, Lord Song. Don't speak more nonsense, I know why you came here. We will battle. If you win, I'll make Jidu the next emperor in 100 years. Seong Chien sighed. He didn't even say what would happen if he won. He waved his left hand and the troops in the fog around Origin Mountain let out a fierce roar as they charged at Wang Lin. At the same time, Seong Chien grabbed the axe and chopped down on Wang Lin. Grand Empyrean Seong Chien was stronger than Dao Yi, about as powerful as Wu Feng. If Wang Lin had wanted to battle Seong Chien 100 years ago, victory would be uncertain. He would have had to use all his power beside the avatar in the void to fight. But now, Wang Lin remained calm as he faced the endless troops and the heaven-splitting axe. He raised his right hand and pointed 3 times. With the first point, a thunderous rumble came from the army, rushing at Wang Lin. The army disappeared like bubbles. It was as if they had hit an invisible barrier. This was what it looked like to Kai Man and Jidu, but in Seong Chien's eyes, he saw the laws of the world appear before the army. After the army dissipated, Wang Lin's second point made the haze around Origin Mountain shatter. The fog was torn apart into countless pieces and disappeared. The whole mountain rumbled, and the powerful members of the ancient Shi that had been managing the formation all coughed out blood and were weakened. Seong Chien felt his scalp go numb, but he endured and revealed a cold gaze. He still held the war axe and chopped down on Wang Lin. At this moment, Wang Lin pointed for the 3rd time. An illusory fist appeared out of thin air before Seong Chien. This fist was composed completely of the fine lines that represented the law of the world. The fist collided with Seong Chien's axe. Thunderous rumbles echoed and the axe broke inch by inch before it shattered into countless pieces that fell on the earth. The fist made of law also trembled and was split in half. Seong Chien coughed out a mouthful of blood and retreated 1,000 feet until he landed on Origin Mountain. The entire mountain trembled and cracks appeared on it. Wang Lin's right hand paused when a white mark appeared on his finger but didn't break his skin. The war axe contains law. Wang Lin looked at the war axe fragment in the distance and his hand reached out. The pieces flew toward Wang Lin and fused together to form a complete war axe. "Do you still want to fight?" Wang Lin's gaze calmly landed on Seong Chien. "Why not fight?" Seong Chien laughed and flew into the sky. He raised his right hand and reached at the origin mountain below. The entire origin mountain trembled and seemed to rise up. It feels like it was being lifted into the sky by Seong Chien. Countless rays of light flew out of the mountain. They were the people that lived on the mountain, including Kai Man, and they looked at all of this in horror. Countless rays of light flew out from the imperial palace and headed toward this place. Wang Lin watched Grand Empyrean Seong Chien raise origin mountain into the sky, and the earth trembled as even more black light was released. Their expressions were all calm as he coldly looked over. The mountain rose higher and higher until it floated high above Seong Chien's head. He raised his right hand as if he was holding a mountain. Wang Lin, if you can withstand the power of this origin mountain, then I admit defeat. Seong Chien let out a roar as he waved his right hand and origin mountain smashed down on Wang Lin. This mountain is called Origin Mountain. It was the first mountain born in the ancient Shi and has been here for countless. Its size hasn't changed at all after all these years. I completed my Dao and became a Grand Empyrean here. After I refined the mountain, I was able to release its suppression force. Wang Lin, take this attack. The world rumbled and the mountain howled loudly. The mountain was extremely shocking and instantly suppressed the area. The mountain was very strange, and Wang Lin could clearly see the power of law being pushed away by the mountain. A mysterious force split the law apart as if this mountain and the law of the world could not coexist. Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly. He stood there as his clothes and white hair danced in the wind. He looked at the incoming mountain and threw a punch at it. This punch landed on the void and the force collided with the mountain 1,000 feet away. A thunderous rumble echoed and the speed of the descent of the mountain reduced greatly, but it was still falling. Wang Lin's punch trembled and shattered after colliding with the mountain. At the same time, a powerful pressure fell on Wang Lin and the space he was in split. It was like the area around him had been completely separated from the world. Interesting. Wang Lin smiled faintly. This origin mountain's suppression was similar to the ancient ancestor's finger. However, the ancient ancestor's finger separated the area into its own world to collapse it to kill the enemy. This origin mountain separated the area into its own world to prevent the enemy from escaping and suppress them. Wang Lin looked at the incoming mountain and muttered to himself, indeed worthy of a Grand Empyrean. None of the 9 Grand Empyreans are weak. Each Grand Empyrean has their own spells. For example, Seong Chien's origin mountain can reject laws and achieve the same effect of creating its own world like the ancient ancestor's finger. Although this isn't a faith spell, it's enough to be proud of. His eyes lit up. With his current cultivation level, there was no one who could make him feel dread other than Grand Empyrean Jidu Dao. None of the other Grand Empyreans were a threat to Wang Lin. Although this origin mountain was extraordinary, that was it. Wang Lin's expression was calm as he raised his hand and pointed at the incoming mountain. This point was the ancient ancestor finger. With one point, the world changed colors and the clouds scattered. The space separated by the mountain rumbled and a large amount of cracks appeared around Wang Lin. The cracks became longer, making it seem as if the space around him was going to collapse because it could not withstand the force anymore. After Wang Lin pointed at the mountain, there was a rumble and it stopped. Although it continued to tremble, it could not descend anymore. Just at this moment, the separated space Wang Lin was trapped in collapsed. Wang Lin calmly stepped out and looked at Seong Chien. Want to fight more? Seong Chien revealed a bitter expression, but he clenched his teeth and jumped on top of Origin Mountain. He bit the tip of his tongue and spat out a mouthful of blood that turned into a blood mist, which was then absorbed by the mountain. Seong Chien sat down and his hands formed seals as he let out a roar. Origin suppression. Origin Mountain let out a thunderous rumble. It broke free and descended upon Wang Lin once more. Wang Lin shook his head and moved. Before waiting for the mountain to descend, he appeared before the mountain and pressed his right hand against it. The moment his palm landed, the mountain suddenly trembled and Seong Chien coughed out blood once more. He was knocked back several steps before he managed to stop. At this moment, the rays of light from the ancient Shi imperial city arrived, revealing dozens of figures. The person in front was an old man in a royal robe. When he looked at Wang Lin, his expression changed. Wang Lin didn't look at the people that had arrived. He waved his sleeve after Seong Chien was knocked back. Origin Mountain immediately rotated and shrank until it was the size of a palm, then it landed in Wang Lin's right hand. After the mountain shrank, it looked like a bull's head, and the broken horn had returned to normal. When Seong Chien saw this, he staggered back and his face became pale. Over the countless years, no ancient Grand Empyrean could shrink the mountain to such a degree. But for Wang Lin, he didn't even seem to refine it when he made it shrink. It also looked like Wang Lin could fully manipulate it as he wished. Seong Chien felt bitterness in his heart as he let out a sigh and gave up all resistance. He clasped his hands and bowed at Wang Lin. "I admit defeat," Seong Chien said, then he looked back at the people that had arrived. They were all shocked by this scene. As the guardian of the ancient Shi and as a Grand Empyrean, I recognize Prince Jidu as the new emperor in 100 years. Seong Chien slowly said, then his gaze fell on the old man in the royal robe. The old man was the current ancient Shi emperor. He hesitated a bit and seemed like he wanted to say something, but he looked at Wang Lin and remained silent. He clasped his hands at Seong Chien and nodded. Prince Jidu was filled with excitement. All of this felt unreal to him. What he had always dreamed of had been obtained so easily, causing him to enter a trance. However, he was no ordinary person, so after a moment, he immediately took a deep breath and stepped forward before everyone. He hesitated for a moment and didn't thank Seong Chien or his father. Instead, he turned and got down on one knee before Wang Lin in front of Seong Chien, his father, the emperor, and many powerful members of the ancient Shi. "Thank you, Godfather, for your help." This kneeling and sentence caused everyone's expressions to change. They all looked over and revealed looks of disbelief. In the ancient clan, where the imperial power was supreme, the prince that had been recognized as the future emperor had actually knelt and recognized someone as his godfather. This kind of thing was beyond everyone's imagination and caused an uproar. "Jidu, what are you doing?" The first person to speak was the middle-aged man standing next to the ancient Shi emperor. He was the crown prince. In the distance, Kai Man originally felt unwilling, but he had no power to change it. However, now his eyes lit up. "Jidu, as a prince, how can you randomly recognize someone as your godfather? You will be the future ancient Shi emperor. How can you kneel toward an ancient Dao Grand Empyrean?" The ancient Shi emperor was still silently pondering. He looked at his own son kneeling before Wang Lin, not hiding the hint of gloominess in his eyes. The surrounding uproar caused Jidu's face to turn a bit pale, but his eyes were filled with determination as he looked at Wang Lin. He knew what he was doing. He wanted to use this to tell his godfather that even if he became the ancient Shi emperor, Wang Lin was still his godfather. Wang Lin also looked at Jidu. He hadn't expected Jidu to have the courage to do such a thing before his father, his brothers, and his fellow clansmen. Jidu could have secretly fulfilled his promise to Wang Lin. This way, his process of becoming the emperor would be smooth, but now there would be twists and turns in his path. The uproar was getting louder and louder, but Seong Chien didn't speak and the ancient Shi emperor also remained silent. Only his gaze became more gloomy. Wang Lin slowly said, "Jidu, I accept you as my adopted son." Jidu took a deep breath. Before this, Wang Lin had never recognized him, and it was just him calling Wang Lin his godfather. When he heard Wang Lin's words, Jidu bowed once more. "In 100 years, you will be the ancient Shi emperor." Wang Lin didn't look at the crowd but toward the ancient Shi imperial city. He could see that in the imperial city, there was a towering statue of the ancient ancestor. That place was where the ancestral temple was located. The crown prince and Kai Man's faces were pale and they seemed to want to speak. The ancient Shi emperor seemed to understand something and let out a sigh before he spoke for the first time. "For my child to have a godfather like Lord Wang is his fortune and glory to my ancient Shi. I'm not the ancient Dao emperor, so will not force Lord Wang away, as that would cause a disaster for the ancient Shi. I ask Lord Wang to stay in my ancient Shi. If you have any requests, I'll do my best to satisfy them." The old man in the royal robe clasped his hands and bowed at Wang Lin. At this moment, Seong Chien smiled and said to Wang Lin, "If Brother Wang doesn't have anywhere to go, how about staying here and witness Jidu becoming the emperor in 100 years? Prince Jidu got up and respectfully said to the ancient Sha emperor, "Father, Godfather wants to go to the ancestral temple and this child has agreed, but I would like to ask father's permission." The old man smiled and said without hesitation, "Ancestral temple? If Lord Wang wants to go, then I naturally agree." He didn't dare to disagree or have any opinion about Jidu taking this person as his godfather. This Lord Wang had killed the ancient Dao emperor and broken into the ancient Dao imperial city and had left with his life. Even Grand Empyrean Jiu Dao hadn't said a word. When he sat that even Grand Empyrean Seong Chien was not his match, how could he dare to offend Wang Lin? The supremacy of the imperial power had no effect on something like this. There were only 3 ancestral temples in the entire ancient clan. They were in the imperial city of each royal family and were located at the foot of each country's statue. Every single adult ancient clan member would willingly come to the ancestral temple during their 3rd trial. However, they wouldn't go too deep, and people of the royal family were allowed to enter the inner area. Since ancient times, very few people had met the qualifications to enter closed-door cultivation inside the ancestral temples. This was rare even for Grand Empyreans because the control was in the hands of each generation's emperor. Only members of the royal families could go into the depth of the temples to pass this trial. Wang Lin was standing at the center of the imperial city of the ancient Sha. He was beneath the ancient statue, just silently staring ahead. This statue was the same as the ancient Dao statue. The ancient ancestor looked at the heavens and earth with disdain and contempt. Before Wang Lin had crossed the 3 heaven-trampling bridges, he didn't feel too much when he saw the ancient ancestor's statue in the ancient Dao. However, at this moment, this statue became different in his eyes. The contempt and disdain was only on the surface. Deep within, Wang Lin saw a hint of sadness. This sadness was directed toward himself and also all living beings. Wang Lin slowly said, "Who carved the ancient ancestor's statue?" Beside Wang Lin, Seong Chien stood there as he looked at the statue and slowly said, "Grand Empyrean Jiu Dao." After the ancient ancestor disappeared, Grand Empyrean Jiu Dao brought 3 mountains from some unknown place. He personally carved 3 statues and erected them in the 3 imperial cities. It is also because of this that us descendants can remember the appearance of the ancient ancestor and not forget due to the passage of time. Wang Lin gently nodded. He knew that a race had to have a symbol of hope. If there were none, then this race would not last long and would slowly die out. It was obvious the ancient ancestors' statues and legends were the symbols that the ancient clan believed in. Grand Empyrean Jiu Dao, guardian of the ancient clan. Just from this title, one could see his wisdom. Wang Lin and Seong Chien were standing beneath the statue as if they were silently waiting for something. Shortly after, murmuring came from the direction of the imperial palace. A ray of dark light rushed toward this location and circled around the ancient ancestor statue to form dark halos. Below the statue, on the boot of the ancient ancestor statue, there was a huge door. This door was closed, but when the dark halo appeared, the door slowly opened. "Brother Wang, the ancestral temple has opened. I won't be going in, take care." Seong Chien clasped his hands at Wang Lin. Wang Lin looked at the door that was opening and revealed a solemn expression. Whether he could allow Li Muwen to safely enter the immemorial god realm all depended on whether he could obtain 2 more drops of soul blood on the 3rd trial. Wang Lin clasped his hands at Seong Chien before he took a deep breath and walked toward the ancestral temple. His pace was not fast, but every step was very stable. Step by step, he arrived before the open door and walked inside without hesitation. The moment he entered the ancestral temple, the door slowly closed. After only half an incense stick of time did the door close completely. The dark light on the ancient ancestor's statue gradually dimmed. It turned back into a ray of light and disappeared back into the imperial palace. Seong Chien stood there for a long time before he let out a sigh and left. The members of the ancient Sha all saw the aura around the statue, but few knew Wang Lin had entered. This news was suppressed by the ancient Sha emperor, so people slowly forgot about this matter. The entire ancient Sha was no different from before, but the people that paid attention would notice that Prince Jidu, who was often away from the imperial city, was now living inside the palace. The crown prince had been titled king 10 years ago and had been sent away to guard the border. Another 5 years passed. Prince Kaiman, who was most likely to become the next emperor, was tilted king and was sent out of the imperial city. After 15 years passed, the princes were titled kings and sent away one by one. After 30 years of time, only Prince Jidu remained. During these 30 years, Prince Jidu had been very quiet and hadn't interacted with the outside too much. His status as the next emperor was set and he no longer had to act in secret. He just had to wait. After all the other princes were titled kings and sent away, the people of the ancient Sha knew who the future emperor would be. Jidu gradually began to come in contact with all the hidden powers that belonged to the emperor. In the remaining 70 years, his father was going to slowly pass the power to him. This was something all new emperors in all three ancient clans had to do, and it was also the most peaceful time. Everything proceeded as planned and Jidu still maintained good habits. Almost every morning when he got up, he would silently look toward the direction of the ancestral temple. He didn't know when he would next see his godfather, but this habit remained the same. Many clansmen who later followed Jidu noticed his and were very puzzled. Even though they secretly inquired about it, they could not find any clues. Time slowly passed and this matter became a secret. In addition to this habit, during these 30 years, he didn't forget Wang Lin's command. He had sent a lot of powerful people to Blackstone City to silently guard a woman. That woman was called Seong Chien. After more than 100 years, Seong Chien was no longer the same as before and revealed the passage of time. She never knew that the Lord of Blackstone City and countless powerful experts had a secret mission because of her. In a flash, another 20 years passed. On the 50th year since Wang Lin had stepped into the ancestral temple, a grand ceremony was held in the ancient Sha. This grand ceremony was not Seong Chien's crowning ceremony, but his wedding. He had chosen one of Seong Chien's descendants, a woman named Seong Yu, as his wife. This woman was doted on by Seong Chien and was one of the few descendants who could personally listen to his teachings. This grand festival lasted for several months, and during this time, members of the other two clans came. From the ancient Dao came a middle-aged man, and if Wang Lin saw him, he would see that this person looked very similar to Yi Mo. He was Yi Mo's descendant. After this festival ended and everyone had left, Jidu brought his wife before the ancestral temple as the moon hung high in the sky. The moonlight was soft and bathed the ancient ancestor statue. Jidu silently pulled his puzzled wife's hand toward the ancestral temple and stopped 100 feet away from it. He looked at the ancestral temple and entered a trance. After a long time, he silently knelt down. The woman beside him was puzzled but didn't ask and instead knelt down with him 100 feet away from the ancestral temple. Jidu softly said, "Seong Yu, we are not bowing to the ancient ancestor." The woman was startled. "We are bowing to my godfather." "Godfather?" The woman was surprised. "Godfather, I have taken Lord Song's descendant as my wife. She will be the future empress of the ancient Sha. Today, I brought her here to pay respects, godfather." Jidu was very respectful. This came from his heart and he was being very sincere. He would forever remember that everything he had obtained had been given to him by Wang Lin. He would always remember that if there was no Wang Lin, he would have had no chance of becoming emperor. Even the woman beside him would not be his wife, she would belong to Kaiman instead. "Godfather, there are 50 more years before the day this child becomes the new emperor. This child hopes that I can see Godfather that day." The woman beside him seemed to remember something and looked at the ancestral temple in shock. She vaguely remembered that her Song family's old ancestor, Lord Song, had inadvertently mentioned a name. When this name was mentioned, Seong Chien's expression became complicated and showed a hint of respect. The woman whispered, "Wang. Lord Wang." Jidu didn't speak but knelt there for a long time before he got up and silently left with his wife. However, when he was a few hundred feet away, a voice came from the ancestral temple. "When you become the new emperor, I'll be there." Jidu's body trembled and he suddenly turned around. He looked at the ancestral temple and smiled. Wang Lin was sitting deep inside the ancestral temple. His body was giving off the smell of decay and had withered greatly. He looked like a corpse. But his eyes were bright as the stars. The ancient clan's 3 trials and 7 calamities. In the cave world, I completed 2 trials and 4 calamities, and I even passed the first calamity of the 3rd trial. The first calamity of the 3rd trial was the ancient race heavenly blood. The second calamity of the 3rd trial is the ancient Tao 3 soul splits. The 3rd calamity, which is the last one, is the blessing of the ancient ancestor. Wang Lin murmured as he looked ahead. There was a stone tablet before him, and engraved on it was all the information about the ancient clan's 3 trials and 7 calamities. After a long time, Wang Lin closed his eyes, and the voice that had appeared when he passed the first calamity of the 3rd trial and obtained the drop of soul blood echoed in his mind. If I want this sky to collapse, it will collapse. If I want this earth to break, it will break. If I want a being to die, no one would dare to stop me. If I want no celestials to remain alive, who would dare to save them? This video will end here.